Congratulations on becoming a U.S. citizen. Now that you've taken the oath of allegiance, there's still a few things that you need to think about and to do. This video gives you the updated 2025 checklist for naturalized citizens, covering all the important steps you should take after becoming a citizen. Whether you just got your citizenship or you got it a few months ago, you should review this list. And if you haven't done some of these things, you should try and do them as soon as possible. I know that it's been a long ride. There should be a sense of accomplishment that you have finally, you've done everything that you were supposed to do. You checked every box, and now you get to reap the benefits of that. So congratulations, I'm really happy for you. But there are a couple of things that you need to do if you haven't done them yet. First of all, this might be too late for a number of you, but when you're at the ceremony and you've just received your citizenship certificate, check it. Make sure your name is spelled right, particularly if you've changed your name, because a lot of people change their names during the whole citizenship process. Make sure your date of birth is right. Make sure your alien number is right. All those things are probably just fine, but check them anyway before you leave the ceremony. If there's a problem, go talk to somebody. There's a whole bunch of people hanging around just there to help you. So if you see that something is wrong, talk to somebody. Number 2, you're supposed to sign the naturalization certificate. I don't know if you saw, but there's a line like in the middle of the certificate where you're supposed to sign your name. Now, it's not invalid if you don't do that, but it's strongly urged that you do that. In fact, if you're applying, which is going to be one of the first things on the list, if you're applying for a U.S. passport, they're probably going to want to see that you have signed this document. It just helps to confirm who you are. So, most important step for you, obviously, once you become a U.S. citizen, is to get a U.S. passport. It's the first big step. And I have told clients for 30 years, as soon as you become a citizen, apply for a passport. I used to say that because you could get a U.S. passport pretty quick. I mean, it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. That's not the case anymore. Okay, right now I'm filming this in May of 25. It's not taking 3 weeks, that's for sure. However, the main reason I think you should get a passport, even if you think that you're not going to travel anywhere, if for some reason you lose your naturalization certificate, it's much easier to replace a U.S. passport than it is to replace a naturalization certificate. Right now, USCIS is saying that 80% of their N565s, that's the application to replace the naturalization certificate, that it's taking about 6 months. 80% are getting done at 6 months. Really? I find it very hard to believe, because even going back 3-4 years ago, even under Obama, this was taking a year, 13 months. So listen, anything that you see on USCIS.gov where it says processing times and they're going to tell you how long it's taken, in my experience, never accurate. I mean, never accurate. So it's just, it's kind of like wearing a belt and suspenders. That way you have 2 ways to prove that you're a U.S. citizen. Another good idea is to get a passport card. It's a little card that you can carry around. It's like the size of a driver's license, more or less. And you can carry that around with you. I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, but I am. I would suggest anyone who is not, how do I want to say this? Carefully. Anyone who is of color should either get a passport and carry it with them all the time, which I don't suggest because you might lose it, misplace it, or get a passport card that you just can carry in your wallet. Because, I mean, just saying, he's frickin' deporting people who are U.S. citizens, and they don't believe that they're U.S. citizens, and he's just picking them up and deporting them. So if you think, even for a minute, that you might have a problem if you get stopped by ICE, I would suggest that you get a passport card. You can apply for that, I think, online. But wherever you can apply for a passport, you can apply for a passport card. In fact, I think it might actually be the same application. I'm not sure, though. I'd have to double check it. The next thing you want to do, and you have to wait 10 days from the time that you've had your swearing in ceremony, but the next thing you really need to do is to go on Social Security and change your Social Security record. You can go up on ssa.gov, and right there on the left-hand side, it'll tell you, click here for change of citizenship status. And they'll just walk you right through all the steps. It's very, very important that you do that so that you make sure, first of all your records are the same. Immigration's records for you are the same. Social Security is the same. The State Department, which is where you get your passport from, that's the same. But you also don't want to, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, when you want to retire, have them say, well, we didn't know you were a citizen. You never said you were a citizen. So do that. You've got a little breathing room, like 2 weeks. Put it in your calendar for 2 weeks from the time you had your swearing in to go up and do that. Next big one, register to vote. Now, I've been to numerous naturalization ceremonies here in the Philadelphia office, and they always have voter registration applications right there at the ceremony. Like, everybody gets up to leave, and they have you go back, and you have to go past all these tables, and they have all these voter registration applications. It's probably the biggest right you just gained, which was to be able to vote in elections. Have a voice. Have your voice heard. So, register. Another thing you might not be thinking about is changing your driver's license information. Go to the DMV. I know, nightmare. Actually, again, every place is different, so maybe, hopefully, where you live, you can just do this online, but every state's a little bit different on how they do things. Make sure the DMV has your correct citizenship status. So the 8th thing that you should be thinking about is upgrading your travelers programs, if you have any. If you're somebody who travels a fair amount and you have TSA, pre-check, or you've got global entry, one helps you get through security, one helps you get through immigration, they need to know that you've changed your status and that you're now not a permanent resident, you're a U.S. citizen. So make sure you change that. Another person you might not be thinking about telling is your boss. You need to talk to your employer, the HR department, or whoever that is, might just be the secretary, but you need to tell them because they're going to need to update your I-9 form. And they might have some of their own additional documents. Maybe, since you're a citizen, you might be eligible for more benefits from them. I don't know. It depends on where you work. So they're kind of the things you should be doing for yourself. Now, how about doing things for other people now that you're a citizen? Well, number one, big one, is if they're qualified, apply for your minor children to get certificates of citizenship. How do they qualify? They have to be a permanent resident at the time that you got sworn in, and they have to be under the age of 18. They can be 17 and 11 months, but they have to be under 18 and they're automatically citizens. However, you don't have any proof that they're citizens, so that's what the certificate of citizenship is for. That's the form N600. Unfortunately, that sucker costs $1,355 if you do it online, and $1,385 if you decide to do a paper filing. Ouch. However, there is a fee waiver. There is a fee waiver available if you qualify for it. You have to be under so much of the, I forget what the percentage is, but you have to be under the poverty guidelines for the year. And immigration actually has, each year they update the poverty guidelines on uscis.gov. But you can find that. So if you're eligible for the fee waiver, do it. Because your kids really need to have this. The schools need to know. Make sure the doctor knows so that his record of your child is up to date. And just in case you have a child who is prone to having behavior difficulties, it can make a huge difference for them if they get arrested. Like when they're 19, 20, 21, they get arrested and they want to put him in deport. And you say, but I thought he was a U.S. citizen. Well, where's his certificate of citizenship? So keep that in the back of your mind. Do that as soon as you can afford it. Now, perhaps you have petitioned for a family member, like your spouse, or your unmarried children, no matter how old they are. They're the two groups of people that permanent residents can petition for. Well, now you need to contact immigration, let them know that you're now a U.S. citizen. Make sure everybody knows why you're sending them the certificate, not the original, just a photocopy. Why you're sending them a copy of this and what case it's connected to. Now, sort of in line with that is considering sponsoring other family members. And I always tell people, do things as soon as you can possibly do them. So if you became a citizen 2 weeks ago and you're thinking about maybe petitioning for mom, petitioning for dad, they're not sure they want to come, blah, 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 just file it. Just file it. That's particularly true for siblings because sibling cases take forever, like decades. So file that as soon as possible, even if your kid brother is maybe 6 years old. File for him. File for him because it could take 10 to 15 years until that visa is available. In 10 or 15 years, he might be ready to come to the United States. Another thing you should think about, this isn't necessarily for other people, but it's certainly for you. I should have put this up at the beginning. You might want to explore federal job opportunities. Now, I realize it's May of 2025, and he's firing everybody, and then he's rehiring everybody, and firing everybody, and hiring. Nobody knows what the heck's going on. But if you've ever thought that you'd like to work for the federal government, go up on USA Jobs. In addition to maybe working for the federal government, you might be eligible for government benefits that you weren't eligible for as a permanent resident, like SNAP and SSI. Let me see, and temporary. I never remember this one. Temporary assistance for needy families. Normally permanent residents have a 5-year period during which they're not eligible for those programs. Well, you're eligible now. So, how's that? I try to speed it up and not be so slow in my delivery and not tell war stories. How'd I do? Only say nice things, please. Anyway, thanks for watching. And if you found the video helpful, please like it. Please subscribe. I'm still looking for subscribers. I have very few, but I'm trying. Leave a comment below. If you have a tip, maybe you've become a citizen and you said, oh, how about this? How about that? Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much.